Speech and Debate League, and he did a fantastic job, again, administering the extemp and oratory divisions. I hear they went very well, so thank you. The next is our TAB staff. We are, I think, very lucky to have such an amazing collection of volunteers running our TAB rooms. In congressional debate, Adam Jacoby and Kevin Burlap. I think anyone who knows Adam understands how hard he works to make congressional debate the best event it can possibly be. The amount of his time that he volunteers to the event is just mind-boggling. And this is Kevin's second year, and we're very appreciative that you returned. Thank you. In the Lincoln Douglas division, Greg Malice, for some reason, continues to say yes when I ask him to help at the TOC, so awesome. Thank you very much. And Joe Vaughn was assisting us for the first time since I've been the tournament director. I was in awe of how calm and cool they were under pressure this weekend. For two people who are here completely volunteering their time, you know, they had a hard weekend, and I immensely respect the work and attention and the caring to the decisions that they had to make. In policy, Aaron Call, who has served for the TAB room in many years now, I'm not actually sure how many exactly, but he's, how many? Too many, he says. He's great at it. You know, I spend the majority of my days in these committee meetings, so I don't even really get to see a lot of my own tournament, and I'm really glad that it's in such capable hands, so thank you. And then in public forum, I somehow tricked Chris Palmer into tabbing PF, despite the fact he originally told me no, he'd be too busy coaching. And he not only tabbed PF, but he also helped all of the rest of the TAB staff the rest of the weekend when we needed, you know, assistance with the TAB room website. And I couldn't ask for better personal TAB room tech support. And he'll at least now get a week off before I start bugging him again with things I want for the website. So now my awesome ballot table wrangler, Adrienne Brivero. She's the director of debate at the University of Mary Washington. In addition to being a dear friend of mine, she's also an expert tournament administrator. It's not an exaggeration to say we literally couldn't have pulled this off without her. And after working the front of the house and policy all weekend, she helped us clean the building for 4 hours. So thank you for your time. And Ava and Jonathan, our debaters, ran the PF ballot table, and Lincoln Garrett, our assistant coach, ran the LD ballot table. Next, I really need to thank the TOC advisory committees. There's over 50 members that make up the coaches across all the events for many of your high schools. I can't list them all, but again, this group of people is incredibly important to the health of the tournament. They rank the at-large teams. They're there for us to consult about important tournament procedures. They selflessly volunteer their time to help us make the TOC the best tournament of the year. They take away their time to meet during the tournament when they could be coaching their students. And so I think we should all thank them immensely. We have a full list of the coaches who are on these committees on our website, so please check it out if you haven't done so already, and thank them for their service if you see them. And then lastly, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We're incredibly thankful for the generous donations from numerous sponsors this year, which allow us to do things like add amenities to the tournament, the lunches provided for students. And those are the J.W. Patterson Foundation, the Julia Burke Foundation, Cy Kiani, and Paul Skiermont, who are two UK alumni who donate to the scholarships. And then lastly, I want to thank the people who help us manage our data. Rohan Sadagopal keeps the policy bid list updated through the year. The NSD update website hosts the LD list. And Jay Stubbs from Bel Air kept the public forum and congressional debate lists for us this year. So thank you so much for your persistent efforts to get this information out for people. I know it's a very important service, and people are constantly looking at these pages, and so they really are appreciative of it. And last but not least, I want to thank you all for coming. The TOC this year had 570 debaters and speakers, which is the largest TOC yet, 40 more than last year. We had over 1,200 people totally on campus this weekend, including directors, coaches, assistant coaches, volunteers, alumni, friends, and of course, parents. You're representing nearly 200 different high schools from 33 states. So thank you, debaters, coaches, parents. Without your commitment to excelling in high school debate and speech at the highest levels, we would not be here at all, gathered amongst some of the most talented high schools in the country. Whether or not you make it to Monday, you should all be incredibly proud of qualifying for and competing at the tournament, which we know is a year-long and oftentimes career-long endeavor for students that requires thousands of hours of commitment, dedication, and practice. So thank you all for being excellent competitors, and you are the ones that make the TOC the tournament that it is. I am now going to invite up Ms. Holly Sandlin, who is with the Office of Admissions at the University of Kentucky, to give you an official welcome on behalf of the university, and then Dr. Patterson is going to take over from there. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Andrea, for giving me the opportunity for the 43rd time.
UK lady's going to talk first.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No, you're totally fine. I'm going to just...
I preempted you. Welcome. I'm sorry.
No problem at all. Good morning. My name is Holly Sandlin. As Andrea said, I work with the undergraduate admission office at the University of Kentucky. And I just want to be sure to welcome you all to Lexington. Make sure that I hope that you have all had a chance this weekend or these last few days to visit our campus, to get to see a little bit of Lexington and see what we love so much about it. If you have not yet visited campus, we would be happy to have you. I did want to just tell you a couple of brief things about the university. First of all, I assume that most of you have started thinking about college, right? So maybe some of you are juniors in the room and you're just now starting to investigate. Maybe you're just now starting to maybe even visit some colleges. Most of you are maybe seniors, yes? Okay, all right. So as seniors, maybe you've already made your college decision. Maybe you, May 1st is still 3 days away. Maybe you've narrowed it down to 1 or 2 or 6 or 7 of your top universities, and you are hanging on to those last 3 days. Do it. Absolutely. Take your time making that decision. But if you are interested in the University of Kentucky, I would love to be your personal resource on campus. So remember my name, Holly Sandlin. I have the honor to work with all of our top scholarship students on campus. So as you're applying to schools, even, I guess, if you're not looking at UK, I would still be happy to talk to you about, the college admission process, or if you have questions about the FAFSA, or if you have questions about student accounts, or how any of that works, please reach out to me. I'm going to give you my email address. It's on the website. It's holly.sandlin@uky.edu. Really easy to remember. And we are just so glad that you all are here, and welcome to Lexington. Thanks.
My apologies to the dean. Thank you very much. Andrea, next time I'll turn my hearing aid up. Well, again, welcome to the 43rd Tournament of Champions, the best debaters and speakers in the country. We started this tournament, as I said, 43 years ago. The aim was to bring together, to the extent we could determine them, the top debaters in the country. The goal was to have a tournament that could be adjudicated by the best judges we could assemble, and in an atmosphere where everyone had a fair shot. The goal was to have no one in the tournament who was not capable of clearing. Obviously everyone couldn't, but everyone could, if at least possibly. And that has continued to be the goal of the tournament. There are a number of people, some of whom are up here and some haven't gotten here, that I wanted you to meet. We have a group, which you may have noted if you saw the program, of coaches who we have determined to be in what we call the Coaches Hall of Fame. These are coaches who've dedicated years and years of service to this tournament. There are coaches whose students have acquitted themselves well at the tournament over a period of time, and there are coaches who dedicate their lives to the survival of this activity, not just this tournament, but debate overall. I'm very pleased to present a member. I believe he was named the Hall of Fame in 1996, I believe, from Regis High School in New York City, Eric D. McKelly.
This should go very quickly. The thing about the Hall of Fame is once you're in one step away from playing John in a nursing home. So we only have, I'd like to introduce our song from the 19th century, Ted Belch from Glenbrook North. 2005, Pam Katie Wyckoff from Apple Valley in Minnesota. I know he's here, but not on the dais, but to introduce in 2008, Aaron Timmons from the Green Hill School in Dallas. And although a friend of Ted Belch, but she was inducted in 2009, Marie DeSuris from Centerville High School in Ohio. I believe she's here somewhere. Finally, in 2012, Jenny Height from Westminster School in Georgia. We're going to see if we can get down to 3 members next year, okay?
Hall of Service. People Smelko.
Yeah, but I look good.
And that's only because she's in both.
Okay. In high school, he was elected the Speaker of the Assembly in the New York State Model Assembly when he was in high school. Isn't that cool? Anyone here ever take history or social studies in class? Okay, Larry did all those things while Lyndon Baines Johnson was president. So that's not why he's here. How about public forum or Lincoln Douglas, all those non-policy kinds of debate, okay? Sort of, anybody? Don't laugh at me. Well, yeah, go ahead, laugh at me. Anybody do those things? Larry, when he was in college, won the largest parliamentary debating tournament in North America at McGill. He won it twice. He also won what was the TOC for parliamentary debate in college at the Royal Canadian Military College twice, but that's not why he's here. Larry, in fact, we're trying to figure out why he's here. Larry was my high school debate coach. Larry coached for 5 years. Then he left the activity. Of course, you never really leave it, it stays in you. Got his PhD, went on the Hill for a few years. But when I was in high school, in the fall of '72, Larry began coaching at Cardinal Spellman High School in the Bronx. Sonia Sotomayor out, Larry Clinton in 1972 in my high school. And we were essentially, I think you would call us an urban debate school. We had no money, we were in the Bronx. My partner, Leo, you want to stand up, Leo? No. Okay. That's my partner, Leo Gagan. Please. Who's now an attorney in New York and makes a lot more money than I do. We were of, I think, what charitably could be called modest means. Yeah. Yes. Here's, sort of the things we did to get to tournaments. I would get on the Lexington Avenue local subway at 4 o'clock in the morning to go downtown through Harlem and the Upper East Side to get a crosstown train to go further down on another subway train so that we could get to Pennsylvania Station to take a train to Boston before the fares rose at 7 a.m. Carrying a suitcase, a briefcase, and 2 50-pound metal file cabinets. That's sort of the degree of support our team gave to us. None of us had cars. It was that kind of thing. So Larry came into this milieu with me, Leo. None of us had ever seen a debate before. And he coached, in over 5 years, he coached teams to the finals of over 20 different tournaments. And I'm just saying not different tournaments, tournaments at different institutions. In that 5 years, including the National Catholic Finals, the Williamsburg Bicentennials, which back in the mid-70s, 1776, was a tournament that invited... 1786, you were judging, right? Back in 1976, invited the top 2 teams from each state in the country. They got to the finals there, won the first Harvard tournament, obviously won TOC twice. He coached other teams here that got to the semis at TC. In his last year, he was stuck with one debater who was not a freshman. Everyone else was a freshman. Their team didn't qualify for NFLs. He was asked by another school to go help them out so they could do well at NFLs, and of course they won NFLs. And JW promptly snagged that debater to come debate at Kentucky. After we graduated, I went to Harvard, Leo went to Columbia. Neither of us had any idea that would even go to a college, much less a good college, before we were coached by Larry. Anyone intend to debate in college? Both of you? Okay. Yeah, you know, my one enduring record in college, they can't take this away from me. I lost the first unanimous final round of the NDT. That was my last debate round. No one will ever be able to lose the first unanimous decision again. But I debated in college. I debated in high school. We went to summer camps. We had some great coaches. I had some great coaches. Tuna Snyder, who's now at the University of Vermont, who is very active in world debate. Bill Southworth, who's coached Mr. Smelko at the University of Redlands for many, many years. I had one coach of mine was Charlie Garvin, who is the world's most modest Rhodes Scholar. Greg Rosenbaum, who just ended his term as the chair of the NDT Board of Trustees. Jeff Pash, who for many years has been the general counsel and the #2 man at the National Football League, good contact for tickets. Here's how old I am. My last year in debate at Harvard, my coach was Dallas Perkins in his first year coaching Harvard. Okay? So I've had a lot of coaches, but none have had the depth of impact, the breadth of impact, or the enduring impact of Larry Clinton on me. He taught us how to think. He taught us how to relate to people. He taught us how to beat people and still have them like us. He taught us how to lose and do so gracefully. He treated us as adults. He's probably the first person who ever treated me as a grown-up. He gave us latitude. He gave us responsibility. And when we screwed up, and Lord did we screw up, he made us accept responsibility like adults. If I'm a good person, and let me tell you, the judges have not yet signed their ballots on this. Other than my parents, no one is more responsible in my life for my development as a good person than my high school debate coach. And I'm standing here 35 years later to tell you that the beauty of this activity, it's not winning trophies. I don't even know where all the horses are. The beauty of this activity is the relationships that you will make, and you will look back on when you're 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80 years old, and how it affected you as a person. That's why I am really excited and delighted to introduce this year's keynote speaker, my high school coach, Larry Clinton.
Welcome, Larry. Good.
I can see why we had John come here now 3 times to do the keynote, I guess.
I'm angling for the 50th, okay?
You got it.
I'd like to start by telling you all what a pleasure and what an honor it is to be here and to be asked by a man of revered status, JW, and of course Andrea, to have no, I'm sorry, I was looking for you up here, but naturally you're down there where you're working. Have the honor and the opportunity to speak with you this morning. This tournament is very, very different than when we were here, and you've already heard some of that, so I won't go through it all. I mean, you have 5 times as many people, you have 5 times as many activities being involved. But the real vision of this tournament was back when we were around. There was really no national circuit. You know, you didn't run into the same teams at the Barclay Forum and Northwestern and then again here and at Nationals. You just kind of heard about these things until there was the Tournament of Champions. And the wisdom and the vision to create a tournament where the debaters would be judged really on what they had done and not by somebody who really didn't understand what we were doing, was something that was just incredible. And I am so happy to see that it has grown into a true national Tournament of Champions. And I must say, after having watched a couple of the rounds, and I've heard all of the criticisms about the various things, but I am tremendously impressed with the evolution of the argumentation that I am seeing here. The sophistication of the argumentation coming out of high schoolers here was fantastic back in the 70s. It is even better now. You all deserve to be congratulated. However, I do have some bad news for you. As John reported one day a while ago, I was a high school debater, which means I kind of looked like you, which unfortunately means that someday you're going to kind of look like me. No, not you, Don. No, not the women. Actually, the women actually get better looking, but guys, this is what's going to happen. Your hair, if you get to keep it, gets grayer. You get larger, you get slower. Your face sort of relaxes. You become kind of inherently less cool. But there is some good news, which is that it's all okay. In fact, it's really great. There is life after high school debate. In fact, it's even better. Which leaves me to the topic of my discussion this morning, resolved that high school debate is the framework, trying to adapt to the new language, the framework for a happy life. And so I did something for this, which we used to do, but I guess you guys don't do this anymore. I came with a plan. We used to have plans, like a 3-plank plan. And the first plank is that you need to listen to the wisdom of the sage of Nebraska, Warren Buffett. I assume everybody knows who Warren Buffett is, second richest man in the country, but perhaps even more important, he is by all accounts a regular guy who lives with his wife of 40 years in a nice but modest home with children who love him, and most notably didn't know how rich they were until they got to high school and their friends told them about it. He's also the sponsor of the whimsical $1 billion prize for having a perfect NCAA bracket. And I think this is the sort of life that we all want to aspire to live. Tremendous professional success, a happy and loving family, and the retained ability to enjoy the simple things of life. I once had the opportunity to ask Mr. Buffett what kind of advice he would give to a young person who wanted to aspire to that kind of success, and he told me 2 things. First, find what you love to do early in life, and second, get great teachers. My guess is that the people who are here today are already well on their way to that exact path. In fact, several of us were in the coach's lounge just last night doing one of the things that we love doing dearly. And I suspect some of you may like doing this already yourselves. In fact, let me depart for this for a second and ask a question. Seriously, how many of you are here already intoxicated? The coaches, no, I'm not asking the coaches. The coaches, put your hands down. Okay. No one, really? Maybe you misunderstand my question. I'm not really talking about alcohol or drugs. And let me assure you that those are 2 of the lesser intoxicants of life. There are other better intoxicants. There is, for example, money. There's power, there's influence, there's sex, there's a sense of purpose, there's a sense of doing things for others, even though maybe you don't directly benefit. There's friendship, there's family, there's love. These are the greater intoxicants in life. These are the things you need to learn how to really drink into your life. So I'm sure you're wondering what intoxicated me when I was in high school. Girls. Thank you, Leah. No, what really intoxicated me was debate. I would walk around during the day thinking about new arguments, thinking about how I could reformulate the affirmative case, how I could come up with better answers to, the key case that I was running against. The notion of debate fascinated me. The multiple ways that you can analyze any particular question, all legitimate, was incredible fun. The ability to question the assumptions that we were brought up with was so liberating, so exciting. The fact that there was a good answer to every single argument in the world, you just had to come to think of it. I was figuratively, in case there are any English teachers in the world, I was figuratively intoxicated by it. I was in withdrawal at the end of the season. I couldn't wait for the summer workshops. That's what I mean by intoxicated. Any of you out there intoxicated? Like I was intoxicated? I found out what I liked to do early in life, what I loved, and I've been doing it ever since. As John pointed out, I work for an organization called the Internet Security Alliance. We work on cybersecurity, which, according to the National Defense and Intelligence Estimate, is now the #1 problem we have in the country over international terrorism. And yet, operating without a PAC, without endorsing a single candidate, without a professional lobbyist, we have fundamentally altered the framework, and actually that is the word we use, the framework for adopting cybersecurity in the world. The point that I want to make, that I think I want the debaters and the students here to understand is really the case, is that up here in the real world where I work, ideas really do matter. And although I've been blessed to enjoy all those other intoxicants I mentioned a moment ago, I still love the intellectual challenge of debate perhaps more than anything. And by the way, make no mistake about it, that is the same thing with all of the coaches in the back of the room. Every single one of them wishes they were in the front of the room doing the debate, not being in the back of the room having to judge you do the debate. And that leads me to the second part of Mr. Buffett's wisdom, which is to find good teachers. My guess is that none of you would be here already this morning unless you had already found at least one great coach or one great teacher. And I certainly remember, and I'm proud to say I'm still in touch with my old high school debate coach, Ralph Calderaro, retired now, living in Massachusetts. Ralph and I actually started in debate at pretty much the same time, so we sort of learned that part together. But the support and encouragement he gave me were invaluable to me as I moved through the uncertain seas of high school life. When I went to grade school in the 1950s, I went to a Catholic grade school, and it wasn't until I was in college that I was diagnosed as dyslexic. Back in the 1950s, nobody understood what dyslexic was. And when you went to Catholic grade school in the 1950s, if you were dyslexic and spelled things wrong, regardless of the content, everything was marked wrong. So I came out of my grade school thinking that I was of subpar intelligence. I was in the lower fifth of my class because I couldn't spell. It wasn't until I got to high school and got to debate, where you didn't have to spell, that I had this revelation that maybe I was kind of smart. And it was a real revelation to me. In fact, it was a real revelation to my parents, who just looked at the report cards and frankly wanted to send me to a trade school to learn how to become a plumber or something like that. Debate changed my life. Raul Calderaro changed my life. And what Mr. Buffett is telling you is that what you want to do in your life is find a mentor, find mentors, and then you grow to become a mentor. Now, you guys aren't up to that yet. You're still in the business of finding mentors. And so what you need to do is find a way to adapt the tremendous skills that you're learning here, your debate skills, your organizational skills, your analytical skills, your research skills, and keep doing what you love. And that leads me to the second plank of my plan, my other piece of advice: go affirmative. Now, there's one place in life that a lot of people use to continue their debate skills, and that is the law, which, of course, is an honorable profession, or so I'm told. And John and Leo are doing this, and that's wonderful. And there's another way that you can continue to practice these analytical and argumentative skills, and that's to become a debate coach, which, of course, I did for a little while, and I loved it, and I have reverence for those who have committed their lives to this. It's a tremendous gift to the rest of us. But I felt I wanted to operate on a bigger stage, if I'm permitted to say that, where we could actually affect real life public policy and change things. And so I went for the political and governmental route first. Now, I'm aware that respect for government and politics is probably at an all-time low. And in fact, I got my start in politics as a campaign manager in the state of Illinois. My good friend Ted Bell spent a number of time there. I know we have a number of Illinois schools here, so you know what I know, which is Illinois may be the most politically corrupt state in the country. In fact, there's an old story about the legendary 5-term mayor of Chicago, Richard Daley, who at one point supposedly said to his son, Richie, "Son, when I die, if I die, I want you to bury me in Cook County, Illinois, so I can stay active in politics." So I'm familiar with the myth, largely created by the media, that public policymakers are all political hacks driven by campaign contributions. I am here to tell you this morning that that is not the truth. After having worked on and off Capitol Hill for 25 years, I can tell you that the vast majority of people in Washington, D.C. are policy wonks who are trying very, very hard to do what they think is the right thing. And the debate is not what you see on the simplistic news programs and the cable programs. If you actually go to the hearings, if you listen to the floor debates, if you stand in the cafeteria lines and listen in the caucus rooms to how these critical issues of national import are being decided, you will see that it is a level of argumentation that is truly worthy of the sorts of skills that you are learning and practicing here. It is that sophisticated. In many ways, working in that environment is just like debate, except the decisions actually matter. When I say go affirmative, though, I don't mean you should just enter the real world of policy debates. I mean you need to harness perhaps your greatest skill that you're learning in this activity, and that is problem solving. It's easy to go negative, to point out problems with peoples or policies, but the greatest of all the debate skills is finding solutions to them. And the world's got lots of new problems, and so you're going to have plenty to do. In fact, your generation is particularly lucky because in the digital world, everything is changing. Physiologists are actually now telling us that our brains are physiologically changing the way they are processing information because we're outsourcing things like memory to smartphones, and we have all lower attention spans. I heard a number of conversations during some of the rounds today about self-identification. There was a study that was done just a couple of months ago where they asked worldwide, what is the most typical way that you self-identify? And the most typical way people self-identify in the world today is as Chinese, which makes sense, more Chinese than anything. Second way people self-identify is as Indian from India. The third way people most commonly self-identify worldwide is as Catholic. And the fourth is as Islamic. And the fifth is as Facebook user. I suggest to you the world is fundamentally changing. I do a lot of work in defense. The two biggest defense assets the United States has had in the entire history of our world, of our country, are the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. These are irrelevant in facing the sort of cyber wars that we're going to be looking at in the next few years. My point is that the world is increasingly transforming, and you're going to have an awful lot of new problems to solve. And so we're looking for ways for you to solve them. So I want to quickly move to the third plank of my plan, which is how do you use those skills? And I have two quick pieces of advice. Be nice, have fun. Now, when I was a debate coach, when I was coaching John and Leo, our philosophy was always that debate is an extracurricular. The point of an extracurricular is to have fun, and so that's what our goal was. We tended to find winning was more fun than losing, so we tended to put an awful lot of work in. But John and Leo were kind of the Matt Damon and Ben Affleck of high school debate in the 70s. They won 13 consecutive tournaments, as John mentioned. They won Tournament Champions twice, won a number of others. But for all the success we had, I think the greatest compliment I ever received. Returning to my text, the greatest compliment that I ever received about them was from Richard Sadeko, the legendary coach of Bronx High School of Science, who said that he had found the secret to our success, which is we had coached them to be nice. And John is exactly right. They were among the most popular people on the circuit. They learned how to win with grace. They learned how to lose with grace. But being nice is not just important because it's nice. Being nice, I find, is pragmatically useful. My understanding, having gone through life, is that if people like you, they will look for a reason to vote for you. I suspect that happened a number of times for John and Leo. And I'm not talking just about debate judges. I'm talking about prospective employers. I'm talking about voters. I'm talking about people who you're going to work with. I'm talking about people who you may be dating and wanting to establish a relationship with. Now, for the rest of you who aren't so nice, you're at least very good arguers. If you got to the Tournament of Champions, you're good. And if you're going to make it out of Tournament Champions, you're really good. In fact, you're going to find out, if you haven't already found out, that you're so good that you can win virtually any argument. In a sense, you're kind of like professional poker players. I don't know if any of you know professional poker players, but if you ever sit down with a professional poker player, the cards don't even matter. You know, they're going to beat you just because they know the game so well. And that's where you are. In fact, let me ask a question. How many of you have already been told when you're in a discussion with a loved one, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, family member, don't debate me? Anybody ever hear that? Turns out they don't like losing all these arguments. So you have to learn that the purpose in life is not so much to win the argument, it is to solve the problem. That's a transformation you're going to have to make as you go through. I'd like to say one more thing about success before I leave. I can't tell you how honored I am and how flattered I am to be here. I say this to people all the time. Everybody should get to live my life. It's fabulous. I have a job I feel matters. I have a family who loves me. I have friends, some of whom even flew down here to be with me today. I enjoy every day, and I want to wish every one of you my kind of happiness. But it hasn't always been that way. We didn't have as many tournaments to go to as John and Leo when I was in school, so I only made 8 final rounds when I was in high school. I lost every one of them. I've had tremendous professional success, but I've been fired 3 times. I have 2 wonderful children. One of them is my only son, who suffers from autism severely. I know what profound sorrow is. For all the joys I've had in my life, I can honestly tell you, for all the meetings at the White House and being on TV and the money and all that kind of stuff, I can honestly tell you nothing gives me greater joy than coming home and being with my son, who's 21 years old and can't add 2 and 3 together. But he is the joy of my life. If I had it to do all over again, I'd start earlier and have more children. I'm not just saying that you make lemonade out of the lemons. I'm saying sorrow and defeat are as much an important part of your life as winning. You drink that stuff in just like you do the victories. Debate taught me how to think things clearly. It is just as important to feel things deeply. Life isn't all victories for anyone. There's only going to be one victor in each of the categories today, but I don't have to tell you all winners. It's great to learn how to win. John and Leo learned how to win. They learned how to lose. In fact, I'd like to ask them to join me up here, if they would. I want to bring them up on stage. This, by the way, what a first affirmative and a second affirmative looked like in the 70s. See, another thing that has improved with debate is the appearance of the debaters. But I wanted them to join me up here because, you know, whatever success I've had in this activity is largely due to them, because we were a team, and the team relationship between the coach and the debaters is really just such an incredibly special thing. One of my favorite current movies, not so current, but one that would relate to this generation, is the new generation of Star Trek. And there's a favorite scene I have in that movie where Captain James T. Kirk is a kid, and he's getting involved in a bar fight, and Admiral Pike comes upon him, breaks up the bar fight, and while he's coming to, Admiral Pike looks up his record on the internet and tries to encourage him to use his skills more productively, to be part of something bigger, something important. And he says, "Join Starfleet." And Kirk sniffs at the idea of joining this militaristic bureaucracy, and why would I even do this? And so Pike says to him, "Well, you know, your father joined Starfleet. Your father was in Starfleet, he became a Starfleet captain. He was a Starfleet captain for 12 minutes, during which he saved the lives of 457 people, including your mother's and your own. I challenge you to do better." I was a high school debater 45 years ago. Before there was an internet, before there were computers, before there was this fabulous superstructure that JW and your coaches have built up before you. And yet I, like most of them, have been able to live a life of productivity, giving back, and joy. I challenge you to do better. I know most of you can. I know many of you will. So this is your wake-up call, gentlemen. Get out there. Compete. Win. And enjoy every minute of it. And when you're done, you come back and you climb over the top of me and JW and your coaches, and you build something even better than what we've given you before. I know you're going to do it. I wish I could live another 100 years to see what you're going to accomplish. Enjoy the rest of the day today, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Larry, and all three of you. Don't wait 45 years to come back, please. He mentioned giving back. A few of my debaters, my daughter Elizabeth, to tell you briefly about the purpose of the foundation and the part that we hope someday all of you will play in it in helping this tournament. Elizabeth?
Hello, it is really wonderful to be here representing the Patterson Foundation. Can you hear me? All right. Said hello, it's wonderful to be here. It's hard to believe that I was 5 years old at the very first TOC in 1971. I've attended many TOCs and many awards ceremonies over the years, and am extremely proud to be here with you today in this capacity. For those of you not familiar with the Patterson Foundation, it was started about 2 years ago by a group of debate alumni, some of whom were present at the very first TOC, and many of whom sat in the seats that you're sitting in today as participants. The mission of our foundation is to promote the academic study of debate and public speaking by first enhancing academic training and opportunity in the practice of speech and debate on both the intercollegiate and interschool levels. And second, to make these activities available to all students regardless of income accessibility. I'm proud to report that in the 2 short years that we've started, we've raised almost $300,000. The TOC has been the first initiative of our foundation, and it's our goal to enhance the tournament and its mission to assemble the very top speech and debate students throughout the country. Our hope is to ensure that this 43-year-old tournament continues for the next 43 years and beyond to host the top talent in the country regardless of income accessibility. To this end, we have to date been able to provide 22 need-based scholarships to TOC participants. And I want to give a special heartfelt thanks to Marilyn Burke of the Julia Burke Foundation for her generosity, support, and friendship in helping to make these scholarships possible in the very infant stage of our foundation. It's my hope that for the next year, we will be able to double the help that we've been able to provide so far and provide double the scholarships for 2015 TOC. I'm proud of our foundation's initial successes and feel that they speak to the collective belief of the inherent value in the activity itself and the manner in which the skills acquired through debate contribute directly to the lifelong successes of its participants. Equally, however, and if not more important, I believe our successes speak to the individuals and the relationships cultivated through the activity. While not always apparent to the student in the moment, they will later come to appreciate on a very deep level their coach's belief in their ability, their willingness to advocate for them, their joy in watching them succeed, and their commitment to providing the best training and the best tournament opportunities possible for them. Throughout my father's 60 years in debate, he did just this. And it is his vision for his students and their futures that has created our foundation's success so far. It is our goal as a foundation to capitalize on his vision and what he did both for the activity and for so many students in the past, and to continue with a vision of our own that mirrors his commitment to excellence in debate and enables students who qualify at the very highest level to have an equal playing field, regardless of income accessibility. Our vision is long-term. We hope to continue to help every year, but our vision is long-term. It's our intention to strengthen and enhance the Tournament of Champions so that it flourishes for many, many generations to come. As participants this year, you are part of a very special community, an extremely high-achieving community that, if history serves, will go on to become extremely successful in whatever respected field that you choose. I have no doubt that debate and speech will contribute significantly to that success, and I hope that the Tournament of Champions in particular will continue to remain a unique and memorable part in a long list of your future achievements. I want to close by just saying that for anyone that was not present Friday night at registration or who was not able to share their contact information with me, I would love, if you are interested in receiving more information about the foundation or information about scholarships for 2015, to please come up after the awards ceremony, and I'll have a list here for you to share your contact information. I would love to keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We come now to awards and the plans for the remainder of the day in the out rounds. Our first award is the Julie Burke Award. As always, we're very pleased to have Julie's mother with us to explain the significance and the purpose of this award. Welcome back, Marilyn.
Thank you, Dr. Patterson. It's great to be back here again. We lost Julia to a car accident while she was driving with her debate partner and two other debaters at college prep in Oakland, California, to a car accident that occurred while they were going to UC Berkeley after school to do research in the library. She was 16. Subsequently, my husband and I established the Julia Burke Foundation to support causes of interest to Julia. While she had many interests, debate was her passion. I will even brag that she cleared here as a sophomore. The first project for our foundation was suggested by a debater from the Woodward Academy and later Dartmouth as a way to honor the personal qualities and values of the award's namesake. Now in its 15th year, the award is set in the part of the debate community in which Julia competed, namely policy debate at the TOC. The Julia Burke Foundation now also supports a variety of projects on 5 continents, and you can learn more about those on our website, the juliaburkefoundation.org. And from Joy Johnson, who's with me today, she's our executive director and helps make all these projects a reality. I will also tell you that we are delighted for the past 2 years to support the J.W. Patterson Foundation. They're friends of TOC within that foundation to improve financial access to the TOC for debaters who qualify but have financial obstacles. The Julia Burke Award Committee here is administered by a committee of coaches from around the country, and I'm proud to introduce the newest member of our group, Eric Odo from Niles West High School, who was a good friend of Julia's and who will present this year's award. In closing, as Julia's mom, I offer you 2 lessons that I've learned: that kindness is the highest virtue, and that there's no guarantee you get even one more day with someone you care about. Best wishes to you all. Eric?
Thank you for the warm introduction, Marilyn. Good morning. It is an honor to be here today to present the recipient of the Julia Burke Award and be named as the newest member of the Julia Burke Award Committee. Julia was a good friend of mine, and we attended Dartmouth debate camp together. I have fond memories of the times I spent with her. I also have fond memories of the times I spent with Marilyn and Jerry after Julia's accident. The support and guidance they provided grieving members of the debate community was simply amazing. They display warmth and passion and are tirelessly dedicated to ensuring that Julia's legacy continues. Before announcing the winner of this year's Julia Burke Award, I have the pleasure of introducing a short video that captures what Julia was truly about. Watching the video sparks wonderful memories for me as I grew up with Julia and the other teenagers in the video. The short clip does an excellent job of captivating who Julia was, a young woman of substance.
Julia was an intense everything. She was an intense competitor. She was an intense teammate. She brought out the best in everybody.
It's certainly, Julia was on her way to being a championship debater at any level, probably in college as well.
She had this desire to draw people in, not exclude anyone, and that was one of her main strengths.
She really did care about a lot of different aspects of debate. She had a kindness. She really cared about the other people that were in our group.
Very few people look back on their debate career and say, gee, I wish I'd cut one more Lexus search. They do regret not spending enough time on the things that really matter. And I do wish that I'd spent one more hour with Julia, maybe cut one less search.
Suddenly becomes so obvious to me that she was the one who had it right all along. The importance of people, not things. Your integrity, not your successes. And your contributions, not your rewards.
I think that the Julia Burke Award has changed the vocabulary of the discussion that we've been having in the high school community. Top debaters now aren't just about the win and loss records. It's about having a strong character. It's about having compassion.
The Julia Burke Award is given to a policy debater who participates in the Tournament of Champions. Students are often nominated by coaches or other colleagues in the community, which I think is one of the best things about the award.
Students throughout the year are invited to write recommendations for their friends. Coaches write recommendations for sometimes their own students, but oftentimes other students that they judge throughout the year that they think demonstrate those qualities that Julia had.
And then all of the policy debaters, as well as one coach from each school, votes on the nominees to determine the winner of the award each year.
The Julia Burke Award for Character and Excellence in National High School Policy Debate recognizes the policy debater who honors Julia's memory by upholding the values she championed. These values include excellence in debate, generosity, respect, and friendship despite the pressures of national competition. The Julia Burke Foundation supports the award with a scholarship, a contribution to the charity of the recipient's choice, and permanent and individual trophies.
The reason we support this award is to encourage debaters to think about life as a citizen of the community, not just as a competitor trying to win. And that's a lesson that Julia taught me, and it's a lesson that now people who didn't even know her directly still benefit from in the form of this award.
Every time I see the video and every time I see Julia, I just get filled with so much emotion. She was truly such a wonderful person, and I cherish all the times that I spent with her. When I found out I was going to give this speech, I reflected on my own experiences in debate and what Julia would think of them. Would she approve of my conduct? Would she respect what I was doing? Before taking the head debate coach position at Niles West, I'm not sure if I would be able to answer yes to those questions. While I excelled in high school debate competitions, I'm not sure I always exhibited generosity and respect towards others. I also had a difficult time maintaining friendships in debate due to the pressures of national competition. Since most of my direct experiences were as a high school student and college judging the activity, I occasionally forgot about what Julia taught me and what the Julia Burke Foundation teaches current debaters. After taking the head coach debate position at Niles West, I began to reflect on my experiences in debate and attempt to learn from them more. As a leader and teacher of high school students, I knew proper conduct in my life was more imperative than ever. I am pleased to say that Julia would be proud of my growth. The students on my team have taught me that it's not always about the wins and the losses. It is about the friendships, relationships, and learning experiences that are cultivated over time through participation in high school debate. One individual I thank all the time is my mom, Linda Odo. My mother was the director of forensics at New Trier High School and recently retired. There is not a week that goes by where I miss thanking her for everything she has taught me as her son, but also as a debate coach. I also apologize for terrorizing her every now and then, not only as a son, but also as a debater and student of hers. I love my mom so much, and she reminds me of the good in high school debate, just like Julia did. Julia was one of the most well-rounded debaters I have ever met. She was a beautiful girl with a dynamite personality. She was extremely intelligent, yet sensitive. While she was a bulldog in debate rounds, she kicked my butt anytime I debated against her. She was one of the most caring people outside of rounds. Even in rounds, she made sure to act in an adversarial but respectful manner. As Alex Pritchard mentioned in the video, she was a champion and was going to be an even bigger champion before this tragedy. Julia had substance. Her personality went well beyond debate rounds and wins and losses. Julia was a member of the nationally prominent Oakland Strokes crew team. Julia was also loved by all of her peers at college prep. The biggest reason Julia is still influencing lives today is because she had compassion and cared about all of her friends. I remember when I was at Dartmouth with her, Julia would make sure I was always on time at the dreaded roll call. Back then, you were late, the punishment was work detail, and Les and Antonucci loved giving me it. In order to help me not get work detail, which is something I really hated, Julia would always make sure that I was up and ready to go before names were called. Julia's compassion for others is also exemplified in one of the most vital missions in her life, promoting organ donation. Julia was a firm believer in organ donation, and her last gift to others before she left us was the gift of life. I think this speaks volumes of the type of person Julia was. The Julia Burke Award honors an individual in the high school policy debate community that captures several different aspects of Julia's life and personality. Excellence in debate is an important aspect, but not the sole criteria. It is essential for every high school student here to know that all of you are champions. It is extremely difficult to qualify for the tournament of champions, and there can only be 2 victors from one school in policy debate. No matter what happens Saturday and Sunday, no matter what happens today, it is critical for all of you to know that you are champions and the best of the best in your activity. Generosity and respect are also 2 driving forces behind Julia's success. Reflecting after rounds about your conduct, treating individuals from different backgrounds with respect, and lending a helping hand are things we should all strive for in the debate community. I think this is more important now than ever with what's going on in college debate and high school debate and policy. We must be sure to embrace our similarities and respect our differences. If we act in a uniform and respectful manner, we will accomplish so much more as a community than if we act in a fragmented and divided. I am confident the recipient of this award will spread this message. Finally, pursuing friendship despite the pressures of national competition is paramount. This is an area where I have learned so much the past 4 years at Niles West. I am thankful my experiences with my debaters has taught me that winning is not the most crucial thing in debate. The 3 finalists for this year's award are Hemanth Sanjeev, Karam Robinson, and Aaron Berger. If the 3 finalists could stand now for recognition, I'd appreciate it. The individual recognized today was chosen based on ballots submitted by competitors in the policy division at the 2014 Tournament of Champions in addition to their head coaches. Receiving a scholarship, a contribution to a charity of his choice, and a beautiful trophy is Aaron Berger. Congratulations, Aaron. Your talent as a debater, outstanding behavior inside and outside of debate rounds does not go unnoticed by countless members of the debate community. I know Julia will be very proud.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So first of all, I guess I'd like to say that I want to thank the Julia Burke Foundation for all of the wonderful things that they're doing, promoting programs for the debate community. I'd also like to thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this community. The people I've met, the relationships I've made, it's something that can't ever really be recreated. Finally, I guess I'd like to thank my debate coach, Christina Tulungen. She taught me throughout my debate career that it's not so much about my record or, the portable skills that I'm getting, but it's more so about the relationships that I cultivate in the process, the people I meet. And that's one of the reasons why I think that I don't so much focus on, well, I do kind of focus on how well I do at a tournament, but I like the interaction with the people who I'm debating with and against almost as much, if not more. Also, I'd like to say that the charity that I want to donate money to is the it's St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital for children with catastrophic diseases, mainly cancer. And it's a foundation that I've heard about a lot through my life and means a lot to me. So, thank you.
Adam's gonna read the debate award, not Pam, okay?
Oh,
So
okay.
you're introducing Adam.
All right. We come now to the sweepstakes.